Vision. Hello, hello, hello. Uh, welcome everyone. Thank you all for stopping by. We're excited to get this going. Second session of Keep and Blade, a Chimera Tale. Our first session post session zero. Um, we Today we're gonna be kind of doing the summary of what we did in session zero, as well as doing relationships, and then launching right into our story. But before we get to that, why don't we do introductions? Uh, Hi, I'm Amr Emrez. I use they them pronouns. I will be the GM of this wonderful cast, and I'm also the co-designer of the game that is being played today, Chimera. We're gonna go around the same order as last time, so clockwise, starting with our very own Angela.
Hello there, everyone who is tuning in for this delightful, chaotic display that will surely unfold very soon. I'm Angela, and I use she, her pronouns, and I'm delighted to be part of the cast here.
Ooh, awesome, awesome. And since you have it this time, why don't you give us character name and pronoun? Uh,
Yes, I will be playing Yolanda Moraga, who also uses she, her pronouns.
awesome. Next up, Morgan.
Hello, I'm Morgan. I am a game designer. You can find me, I guess, like just publishing on itch on Nested Games. And my character is Aldenon, who usually goes by Aldi for short. And they also use they them pronouns as well as I.
Awesome, awesome. And continuing along, Alex.
Hi there, I'm Alex. I use he, him pronouns, and I will be playing Tamal, who uses she, they pronouns.
Awesome. And last but certainly not the least costumed for this endeavor, V.
Hello, hello. My name is B. My pronouns are they, them, and I am joining you all this evening as Jupiter, whose pronouns are he, him. And please, my ears are not the focus of me. I'm actually very strong. Don't look at them too closely, please. I'm a little
They're
embarrassed by
there.
them.
They're there. It's okay. We know you're strong. We know.
Thank
It's okay.
you.
Would you like a hug?
No, maybe.
uh, but yeah, awesome. That is everyone in our delightful cast, and we're just gonna get right into it since we're only here for a couple hours tonight. Um, so we're starting off with backstory. Last we left y'all off, we had most of the characters and a wonderful world built. To give you a sort of summary of the world we're going for, we have a series of sky archipelagos that most of them came from the planet's surface itself, some undetermined amount of time ago in what is called the updraft. Since then, a bunch of cultures have sort of developed their own lifestyles on the archipelagos, and the facilitation of technology and communication is mostly handled through a variety of guilds that ensure that knowledge is disseminated between the various groups and factions that exist. Meanwhile, the planet's surface is mostly flooded, and a bunch of aquatic cultures who had lived under the water before the flooding kind of continue to live there, adapting to new circumstances, and some of them not really being affected at all by the fact that their home hasn't changed because water is water. Uh, we'll see how much of each we will be seeing today and in later sessions. But that's the sort of vague setting. We are doing a fantasy and superheroes blend, and most of the world is anthropomorphic creatures, which is, I feel, like an important detail to remind you of. Other than that, we have characters that we started, and today we will be finishing them. So I'm gonna go through in the same order, ask you all to reintroduce your character, their playbooks, pronouns, any fun facts you want to share, as well as give us. Once you have that, I will ask you your backstory questions, and you can just give me the answers to those. Sound good?
Sounds
Awesome,
fab.
awesome. All right, so we'll be going in the same order. So Angela, you're up.
Hello, hello. So, as I said earlier, I will be playing Yolanda Moraga, and I will be playing with the primary playbook of the Learned, so the sort of wizard equivalent, or like educated or picked up a lot of knowledge spellcaster type, and the secondary playbook of the Hopeful, who is sort of the kind of I get it has a prodigy kind of vibe, and also how did you get sort of your abilities kind of vibe to it. It's like, well, I got a lot of stuff before a big moment happened, so think Spider-Man esque kind of individuals. So those are the two playbooks I'm going in, and my general vibe for my character is trained illusionist slash reality warping magic channeler. This is my shortest way of describing her.
Oh yeah. Are you ready for your backstory questions?
Yes, I am ready to go through those. I have them pulled up right now.
All right. So, from your learned background, what drove you to your intensive studies?
I grew up with a sense of wonder about what exactly could be real in the world if you tried to imagine otherwise. If something like the sun could play tricks on you and make you see things that weren't there, how far could a little magic go? I wanted to know how far such power could go and if I could make some of the things I did want to be true to about myself be real, even if for only a little while.
Oh yeah.
Aw.
What experience do you most regret missing because of your studies?
I miss getting to be out with friends, and especially those I wished to show more open affection for because of how afraid I was to be myself around them. I always thought I had to become more the person I assumed people wanted me to be, and missed out on who I was already becoming for myself. I regret not making time to see and be with people more.
And finally, what technique is the pinnacle of your research?
I have found a way in recent years to change the constructs that I make in my illusions into real beings. It's taxing and lasts relative to the size and complexity of the being in question, but it's the culmination of years of study in private and with others.
Nice. That sounds like a lot of fun and won't at all cause any interesting side effects during the course of play.
Nope, nope,
Oh,
not at all.
no,
Nope.
no. No GM notes here. Perfect. And now from your hopeful side, how did you first get your abilities?
I arrived in one of these sort of skyward islands on a day and had a chance encounter with a pair of essentially superhero mages, one of whom disappeared after
What?
passing along a fragment of her power to me during the encounter. So essentially, Polytriad met with them, incident happened, and one of them is now gone.
Uh, are the other two still around?
Yes,
Okay.
they are the ones who are mentoring me with the new reality warping powers.
Awesome. So yeah, well, let's answer the next question before coming back. Who helped you get a handle on these abilities?
Remaining two partners of the Polykill decided to help me get situated and support me when they can. However, they are always busy and
Cool.
basically think Scarlet Witch disappeared, Zatanna and Constantine are helping me, and Constantine is very much like being dragged along for this, but Zatanna gives him a look, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, cook. So there
Perfect,
you go.
perfect. And what does anyone know what happened to the third one, or just disappeared?
So we just it's more of a just like portal appeared, and as she slipped through the portal, like a fragment of this sort of scarlet red energy just swirled around me, and it reacted to my magic that I had, and then it was just poof. Well, now I have part of her outfit now whenever I actually make use of those abilities.
Uh, perfect, perfect, perfect.
Well,
And then I guess I have one last question for you on your backstory. You said you missed out on getting to be with friends and the like. Is there anyone or any one connection that was lost during your studies you feel the most?
Not anyone in particular. I think it's just a general like I'll put this in the most blunt way. I have a lot of gay feelings of inferiority towards folks who I'm attracted to as the character. Therefore, sort of like if I do this right well enough, then I'll be enough to be around them. And then what happened was, oh look, 30 years passed.
Mm-hmm. Wait, hold on. Wasn't I doing this for a feelings reason? Hold up. Perfect.
You know,
Awesome.
one more year of grad school.
Yeah,
It's
it's fine.
basically the feeling.
Uh, is there any final details you want to share about um, Yolanda with our group?
Outfit wise, she is somewhere at the cross between Yennefer from The Witcher, uh, MCU Scarlet Witch outfit, and Zatanna's outfit.
Cool.
And when she makes use of the reality warping powers, her robes that are kind of the defining aspect of her outfit
Mhm.
flare out and change to shape more towards like the full kind of long coat that like MCU Scarlet Witch has.
Cool. Well, you'll get a full chance to describe what your character looks like as we jump into our first scene. Uh, so everyone look forward to that because the possibilities for this outfit are already very interesting. But with that, let's hop over to Morgan. Morgan, do you want to introduce your character?
Yeah, let's be on the right tab so I can actually read what I have. There we go. So I am going to be playing Aldenon, aka Aldi. The Aldi's probably what most people call them, or at least like anyone they get to know. So like all of you probably would effectively. Um,
Don't forget that I'm a half god.
and I'm the Tide Brain, the Tide Bearer.
uh,
um, Anyway, so my playbook is, or my playbooks are primary wander, secondary chosen. Um, and so because of that, I've been chosen for a particular destiny and fate. I've decided to call it. I've been dubbed the Tide Bearer, but I guess we'll get into that with some of the backstory questions.
Love it.
Um, so let's see, we're gonna save look for later, right?
yeah.
So let's
I mean, you
go
can give a vague
with
impression if you want of like what people should keep in mind before we get into a detailed description.
yeah. I guess let's just the vague thing is you can just think of them as like kind of stylish ranger dress, where it's like you have the I guess make it instead of like a cloak and overcoat, but hood and it's all like blue but like really stylish, like as if it was well dyed, um that kind of thing, and they just like cover like the lower half of their face, because they're trying to go around anonymously for reasons that will become clear later.
Yeah, why don't we get into those reasons? Um, so your first backstory question from the Wanderer is: you left home and kept moving. Why haven't you turned back?
So, everyone told me the reason I had to leave was because I needed to save the whole world from the Skybreaker. Not just my town. I had to wander all of the updrafted islands, ensure that I took care of everything and everyone. But the anxiety that left their faces when I departed from my home told me everything I really needed to know. That my presence was a site of tragedy before it was a sign of salvation. And so I can't bring myself to go back.
You once thought you could have a home somewhere. What changed?
Oh boy. Well, for a couple months, it was early in my travels. I'd settled in a town on an island called Perhanoa. The people there had a favorable view of the tide bear, which is not rare, but definitely like unconditional acceptance is very rare. And I was just able to rest easy there. Um, and I'd hoped that I could, use that sort of a base of operations, stay there, maybe have to leave sometimes, but just use this as a place to continuously return to. Um, but well, that sense of calm and serenity didn't really last. One night, suddenly, just a red mist overtook the night sky, and well, I don't want to get into the details, but you could say that at the end, the whole sector of the island that the town was on it had entirely collapsed. I barely escaped with my life, and I don't know if this incident was caused by some harbingers or agents of the Skybreaker seeking me, or it was just the worst set of cosmic bad luck that's befallen someone. Um, but I haven't stuck around anywhere long enough to find out.
Alright, we'll get into that in a second. But finally, what do you miss about the concept of home?
So I miss a lot of things, but I think the biggest is just the feeling of being like safe, secure, and comfortable. Um, I'm kind of always not on edge, but I just always have to be um like on alert and paying attention to what's going on around me, and there's not a lot of room to be vulnerable.
Awesome. And now from your chosen side, why did the focus choose you?
Honestly, I ask myself that all the time. My best guess is that It's because I'm able to stay upbeat and positive even in the most harrowing situations. You could say that I'm the eye at the center of every storm.
You could. I will not be.
I'll say it.
No, it's great.
Anime is real.
Anime is real.
What can you never forget about your first encounter with the Focus?
Well, I haven't told a lot of people about this, but they usually people first assume that I encountered the Focus for the first time when, the giant dramatic ceremony of the 41st moon called Turnus shining a blue beam of light and, everything parading and descending from the sky. But actually, the first time I met my Focus was in a dream a couple months before, where I'd found myself at the bottom of the ocean, which probably a lot of people would consider this a nightmare. For me, I actually found it relaxing, calming, almost like this was my place. And I'd end up rescuing my Focus, which was, it's a short sword, except in the dream it was kind of swimming around like it was the little minnow in the bottom of the ocean and got stuck in a patch of seaweed. And pulled a scabbard seemingly out of nowhere and cradled it. And I just woke up. And, when I woke up, I just figured the dream was just me thinking I had a hankering for seaweed. And then the ceremony happened. Yeah?
Awesome. All right, my one question for you is, do you as a player know what happened to that town? Or
I assume it was Skybreaker.
okay.
Specifically because the islands broke.
Yeah.
Because just a whole section of it collapsed.
Cool.
And that's basically what all the prophecies of doom
Yeah.
are saying is going to happen, and it's just that's basically what's going to happen on
And do you think it's because
the broad scale.
the Skybreaker was specifically looking for you?
I think so.
Okay.
I think more specifically that it wasn't like I know you're right here. I have Sauron homing in on you, but you hear enough. Like I stay in one place long enough, you hear enough whispers. They're like, maybe they're bang kind of situation.
I'll just somewhere on that island. Oh well, goodbye island.
I mean, I only got one go of it a year, so I might as well just aim here. Why not?
Cool.
As opposed to a shot in the dark, it's just a shot at the sky. It's just a godly equivalent of an old man yelling at the sky.
Well, if I aim wrong, I hit the wrong island. Oh well, take a shot.
Old man yells at sky islands.
Make that a specific meme. But on that note, let's hop over to our wonderful Alex. That's right, Alex gets a wonderful. None of y'all do. I don't know why. I just felt inspired. For your attire, you can get adorably dressed.
Won't tolerate it.
I offer the word exquisite.
Oh, for yourself, because that's what I was.
This is not a trading of words. The focus should be on Alex right now. God damn it! That was not where I was expecting that to go.
This is a compliment-driven stream.
Yes.
No one is safe.
Fuck you, I'm out. I didn't agree to this.
All right. Luckily, Angela's already done her backstory, so we don't need her for a minute. Alex, why don't we go to you?
All right. So my character, Tamal, is a living statue. So that's going to inform some of the backstory that I have going on, as you'd expect. Shall I dive into the first one? So my first one is, what drives you to protect other people? Some of my ideals of kindness and mercy seem to have been given to me by my unknown creator, an architect, sculptor, and experimental time magic user who seemingly brought me to life, but disappeared before I ever met them. I have a strong, and if not unbreakable, at least repairable body, so it seems sensible to use it to help those who don't share my advantages.
Solid. Anything else you want to share about that? Want to launch right into backstory?
Oh yeah, that was my first backstory question.
Awesome. Let's go straight into the second one. What happened the time that you failed to protect someone? For the audience.
So I think there was a village that I called home for several years, Tetnir, which was washed away in a terrible flood when a sky island that was like floating above ours just for some reason dropped like an entire lake out of it and onto it. And so I had tried to like go out there and like build like big metal shields to try and like redirect the water and protect the town, and it just wasn't enough. You know, the water went around and through them, and by the time the flood had cleared away, just those big shields stuck into the earth were the only thing left, and the whole town had just been washed off the edge of the island. So I've been searching for whoever is responsible for that, but I don't really know who it is.
Okay. And finally, who protects you?
That would be Jala, my apprentice, who uses she, her pronouns. She maintains my smithy and my workshop when I'm away and reminds me to take breaks, like, you know, regular humans do. She's been with me for about 2 years after I rescued her from her boring life as the fifth daughter of a minor noble. She taught me how to read and write and is trying to help me understand, like, how normal, regular humans act, which is a thing I don't really get.
Solid.
According to her, anyway.
What does she know, anyways?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, and now from your gadgeteer innovator side, where did you learn to create gadgets?
Some of my knowledge was inborn, like I just sort of came into sentience already knowing how to make things. And I also studied my creator's extensive libraries, which taught me many different crafting arts. It was only later in times of duress that I realized my superpower, flash creating or repairing objects in an instant when I have the necessary materials.
So you need the materials on hand to do it, but you don't have to expend time.
Yeah.
Nice.
If I was an exalted, it would be called something like instant 1,000 hammer blow technique.
Really leaning into that anime naming convention thing, aren't we?
Yep.
I'd like to call it the drum roll.
I said if.
All right. And finally, what gadget is more than its function?
That is my forge armor, which is almost literally a second home. It has miniature teleport gates in the belly and the left bracer, which give me access to my forge and workshop, respectively. It was my first great work, and I dedicate much time to maintaining and improving it.
Awesome. All right. My questions off of this are: you had this village, Tetnir, that died in the flood. Do you have any ideas where you want to take that? And specifically, do you want that to be tied or separate to the Skybreaker stuff we already have?
That sounds awesome. I didn't know about your thing, and I'm like, yeah, that's a great conversion evolution there.
Yeah. Hey, Tide Bearer Aldenon.
Yeah.
Would you be perhaps say that maybe the island that you called home that broke apart had a giant lake on it?
That seems possible. Strongly
Yes.
possible.
We both had tragic backstories from the same event.
Yep.
What did I decide to name this island? Let me look it up. Bir Hanoa.
Bir Hanoa. Yeah.
My
So
standard naming convention. Stringing a bunch of syllables together and hoping it sounds like a name.
That's fantasy, baby.
That's nice.
Hey. There are other respectable naming conventions, like making anagrams of different actual names.
I should start doing that. That sounds really good, actually.
It's more effective than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprisingly helpful.
It works pretty effectively. But yeah, awesome. I think that answers the question I had for you. And do you have any idea, you as the player, the state of your creator? Are they?
Nope. I could see all sorts of different things. I think they had lots of books on like highly experimental weird time
Yeah.
magic, so they could have like teleported themselves into the past or the future, or like it could be that they stopped existing because I'm actually their embodied soul, or like whatever.
Okay, cool. We will see where the narrative takes us then.
I just see Angela having a moment.
Shh, saw nothing. Saw nothing. The audience saw nothing either.
Beautiful.
Alex said portals, and I'm like, nope, nope, I'm keeping my mouth shut.
All right, and finally, I'm seeing some antlers on the horizon. Uh, some really cute animal features. Uh, B,
I got them
hello.
from my mom. It's fine. She wasn't a god or anything, but it's all right. I like her a lot and I respect her.
They look really cute.
I won't acknowledge you now.
All right, well, will you instead acknowledge the audience and tell them about yourself?
Yes. My name is Jupiter. My pronouns are he, him. I've got what folks have called a rather feminine appearance. I don't understand what that means. I think I'm god looking. Just don't, I do what I can. They are, so Jupiter, as he was named by his god-like father, Jupiter's a little angsty, a little arduous. He can be difficult at times. Nonetheless, he has this air of sharp wit and sophistication, which I have no idea how that's going to blend in with this group. But I'm really excited to see how that's gonna work.
Yeah, this is gonna be a fun time. Shall we jump into your backstory questions then?
Yes, please.
Who is your immortal parent to you?
That would be my father, Soul. I think that's what I called him.
Cool.
Yeah.
And personally, who is he to you? Like, do you like him?
Oh,
Do you hate him?
I don't like him. I hate him a lot. But he's still my father and he's still a god, and I want to be a god, so there's a little bit of respect, but it's not without the layers of angst and rebellion. And he disrespects our mother a lot, my mother. I don't like that.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Next, who is a true demigod in your eyes?
Back when Jupiter was ejected from his homeland, it was just like, we're tired of feeding you, get out. So he had to kind of fend for himself, and wow, was he bad at it. So like on day one, he was just flailing around in the water when this rather many-armed, large-eyed figure just kind of scooped him up, and was like, what? When you're in that direction, you drown. I'm positive you folk drown like that. And her name was Octavia. Honestly, she was wonderful. And come to find out that she is the representation of what I believe a demigod to be. She upheld everything that I want to stand for now.
Cool. Oh, was she an actual demigod or just, like, morally?
If you ask Jupiter, he'll tell you she was definitely a demigod.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I have some fun ideas for today. Cool. What do you hope to be able to say to your immortal parent one day?
Screw you, Dad, you're wrong.
Oh, was a solid answer. Nothing.
Yeah.
That answer is perfect as it is. Moving on.
Okay.
What brought you from your bound side? What brought you first to make this pact, and why with this particular entity?
I mean, he needs to prove himself, first and foremost, to both of his parents that, he's capable, and he didn't just have to rely on somebody else entirely to take care of him for quite a few years until he was able to hone some rather specific skills in order to be strong. But nonetheless, he learned that there would be a benefit with maintaining relations with his father, the god of the sun. And so he went back home after about 2 years alone with his friend, to be like, all right, I'm ready to return. And his father was like, I think you're weaker than ever. Like, what do you have to show? Maybe they fought. Jupiter definitely lost. And so his father proposed a pact. And it was that I have to destroy a pair of twin blades, one blue, one red. And upon their destruction, I would guarantee his immortality, thus cementing our family in all eternity. Uh, you can ask the next question because it'll.
Yeah. Who from your past pushed you away because of your pact?
My mama. She thought that was the worst idea ever. And she was no longer willing to accept that I was going to make our father an immortal god. Like for not like he's immortal, but he was still kind of he's still killable.
Mm-hmm.
But with the destruction of these two blades, which were ultimately the reason, maybe it's like it's like some of his soul is kind of put into them.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but like the good part of his soul, and this is gonna make it all evil. But nonetheless, yeah, my mama wasn't having any of it, and so disappointed, and she won't talk to me anymore.
Oh no. Look what you've done. Look at the decisions you've made.
I know, but I want to be strong.
All right. So, I have a couple questions, and then I'm gonna hop over to Angela for a quick question or two. So your deity, your dad, is a god of the weather, correct?
Yes.
What relationship and or feelings, if any, does your dad have about the Skybreaker?
Well, okay, so I think he's more the god of the. Can he be the god of the sun and weather? Or is that too much? That's a lot of
That's
power.
fine. That's totally
Okay,
fine.
Oh, I think he probably hates them. They're an interference.
Mm.
Because I can justify, absolutely the bond between all of us, but like we all have our own ulterior motives.
Mm-hmm. No, it's like what? Wait, no.
No.
Cool. Yeah. Do I have any further questions? Not at this time. I'm gonna hop over to Angel for one last question. What exactly does your polycule triad of sorcerers who gave you your power, um, like do specifically, or do they just kind of like deal with whatever, or do they have a specific?
I kind of feel like they deal with it depends. It's mostly the odd jobs kind of thing, and like maybe the stuff between because we established during our world building that we have like the guilds that sort of manage a lot of the like technology and magic like sort of knowledge transition and just especially for travel that kind of thing. I imagine playing fully into the Constantine inspired character that they deal with the people who are like trying to be the biggest assholes about it, and as a result of that we're just like stop being an asshole or I'm chucking like an infernal fireball at you, please. Or like something to that effect. Like not trying to go to that route, like that's the last course of action to take, but just that's in the back pocket.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Yeah. Alright. Sure, more questions later, but that was the main one that came to mind for now. So with that, the next thing we need to do is character relationships to create some juicy strings and bonds between all of you. So each of you will have two primary relationships and then a choice of one from two secondary relationships. We can do this one a little bit more haphazard. If you want to volunteer someone for one of yours, I think that's the easiest way to start, and then the person can say yes or no. But if you read one of yours and you're like, oh wow, I think it would be really cool if X person was the person who did this. If you're completely unsure, you can read one out loud and be like, hey, can I take a volunteer for this?
One of mine feels pretty obvious. Because I have who is a danger to themselves and those around them. And that really reads Jupiter so far, I think.
Not swinging around really impressive, dangerous swords or anything.
Right.
Gifted by a god with malevolence, seeking their own perpetual immortality.
It's my dad. It's fine.
Hey, Tamal is pretty chill, but I think there's an amount of like, okay, you're gonna need watching.
Beautiful.
No, we just moved from anime to Tales of Zillia and Symphonia levels
Yes,
of like.
we did.
We just moved. We're just transitioning witch trope of like, oh boy.
Gay RPG.
Yay. That's perfect. Kingfisher sounds like you're good with that.
Oh my god, yeah.
Perfect.
if I wasn't enthusiastic enough.
Angela, you look like you're going to speak up with one.
I was actually thinking because I was struggling a bit to who to put for some of these, but one of them I thought was actually perfect for Tamal's character.
Oh.
Who has the potential for you to pass your knowledge off onto?
Oh.
Because I feel like there is no way Yolanda trusts Jupiter to have all of this. Plus, I don't know if she. I don't know if it's like the kind of thing that she thinks Jupiter even needs, and I don't mean that in like a dismissive way. I think she's kind of like a little subdued by Jupiter's like lineage. It's like, where are you from? Oh, I'm like, I have parents from down below. Where are you from? Oh, I have a literal god as a parent. She's like, you don't need this. You don't need this. Tamal, depending on if she's disclosed any of like what's happened to, what happened in regards to the
Probably, yeah. I think
shields.
she's a pretty open book.
Yeah, and I imagine she's also the kind of person who's like, you can make things when you have materials. What would happen if you learned how to just do it when you didn't have anything at all?
Fancy.
So-
Conjure illusion materials and then merge them together.
I need lumber.
Perfect.
I'm thinking of a material between stone and diamond. Lumber. Works.
Need something that's about a 7 on the Mohs hardness scale.
All right. B, you look like you were gonna speak up as well. You have one? Nope.
I
Nope.
mean, okay, pause.
Uh,
Maybe. If you got one, Morgan, go for it.
Yeah, I think I have one. Yeah.
Okay.
So one of the ones I have is, who is the closest thing you have to home nowadays? And I think so. Tamal has like, you have your situation, like you have like you're almost traveling like the home you bring with you, right?
Mhm.
Would it make sense that like you've invited like me to like live, not necessarily live there, but like stay and hang out a bunch, and
Yeah, that's
it's a place I like
interesting.
would like come regularly.
I think that's definitely possible. Yeah. She's got a little bit of like mom friend energy.
Yeah.
Love
Beautiful.
it.
Beautiful.
Okay, now I feel like it is on me.
I mean, if someone else has a second one, they can jump in. But
Well, okay, I have a potential.
Ooh.
So, who has seen a side of your divine parent that even you haven't? And I think, Aldenon, have you had some kind of divine experience in the past that you just haven't particularly spoken? I mean, maybe you've spoken to me about, but I just don't believe you.
So
That's even better.
almost certainly.
Jupiter's
So
a
wait,
perfect
can you read that
bench
one
friend.
for me again? I think I know. I think I can have an answer for it though. Yeah.
Yes, who has seen a side of your divine parent that even you haven't? So, this is something only
Ah,
you have witnessed of my
Okay.
father,
'Cause I've-
god of
oh.
weather and sun.
Yeah, like almost like I've traveled a lot of places, so I probably like have just been to where your like home is at some point. So quick question, B. Are you
Mhm.
thinking, do you want this side to be like a good alternate side or a bad alternate side?
Oh, this is all up to you. We already know he's a jerk face. You
Yeah.
can either jerky McJerkface him or offer up a side of redemption.
Mm.
I cannot imagine what it would be though. So I'm
Yeah,
curious.
I'm leaning hard to the jerk, but like I think it still would be something that like Jupiter wouldn't believe, because it seems like Jupiter, he's like really like invested in like living up to like your dad's like,
Shitty expectations.
yeah.
Yeah. I really want to meet them. Really bad expectations.
Ooh, I got it. I think it's a time your dad showed weakness.
I don't believe you at all.
Yeah.
What? Weak? Not
Um,
my father.
Yeah, I think it was a time that like I had to solve a problem for your dad that he couldn't solve himself.
Hmm.
He's a god. I can't. I have to go step on ants or something. Excuse me.
Yeah. I think it's basically, I think probably the interesting thing about it, it wasn't like, oh, I'm stronger or anything. It was
Mhm.
like a problem that force and intimidation couldn't solve, right?
Hmm.
Like it was like, oh, I have to like deal with probably some other like divine demigod-ish type of problem, and it's not, I can't smite them with lightning, I can't bring 1,000 plagues on them. They somehow survive all of that. And maybe just like some conversations over tea and some like negotiations, and just like, oh hey, maybe you do actually owe them and they're actually in the right here. And how about you oh wait, here's this contract.
I also feel like people probably wouldn't believe there's a problem that needs a non-strength solution to solve.
Oh,
Yeah.
and tea. Why do
Yeah,
you
tea.
want to drink warm leaf water?
It's relaxing. You should try it.
I put all my
Cut to-
stats into energetic. I don't believe in being relaxed.
cut to Yolanda's like private little summoned office, and there's just a whole shelf of like 15 relaxation teas.
Do not understand.
Perfect. All right. Does anyone have a second relationship?
You said, just to clarify, you said we pick one of the questions from our secondary playbook?
Correct.
Okay, so it's just one. Damn. I had one and then no.
If you don't have a specific person, but you have a question, the two you'd like, you can just ask that and then get a volunteer from one of the remaining people
Yeah,
you don't
if
have a
we feel
relationship
it.
with. That goes for everyone as well.
Who never makes you feel like a mistake?
Oh.
I don't think that can be me.
I'll consider taking it, but also Tomal could conceivably fit too. So
Yeah,
I'm
I
good.
think either of us could do.
I think you already have one, or rather,
Oh, right,
Tamal's
we
the
already-
person who's
We already
Yeah.
got one.
yeah. So
So yeah, because it's designed to have 3 questions, one to each person in the team,
yeah.
right?
yeah, the idea is to get
But I think-
relationships going each way.
Actually, I kind of think Jupiter does kind of fit that one.
Oh,
I like this.
okay.
But I think it's in that way where it's like, we all have our things that we're good at, and I think she has a lot of levels of like self-doubt about the sense of like, why did I do all of this? Like, why did I bother? This hasn't proved worth anything. And like, probably being around Jupiter is probably some reminder of like, no, Jupiter focused and has his own problems around expectations from people, the worst kind, and a literal deity, but also like doesn't, at least in her mind and how I'm imagining the character, she doesn't think of Jupiter as someone who's any less happy for just having been the kind of person that he is. So I think there's a happiness and relief to her that lets her feel at peace with what she's put so much time and effort into. It's like when I kind of imagine it's the equivalent of like when a teacher is like, why the fuck did I bother getting this degree or learning this, and then teaches a student who like has enthusiasm or like shows the same kind of fervor and fire someone that they used to have.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like that, except it's more in a like being reminded we're all in this world with a different beautiful skill set. Jupiter's is taking the most effective, direct, and strength-based route. Yolanda's is not that route, but it's not less valid because of that.
Mhm.
I love that a lot.
I'm taking she feels affirmed in her existence route to that bond.
Awesome.
I really dig it. I just feel like Yolanda's having this like one moment of like self-actualization where they're like really respectful, like, wow, that last task, Jupiter really took on like headstrong, and then you just look over and like he's trying to bash his head into a wall. Like, it's still a good feeling.
And that leaves, who keeps pushing the edges of your knowledge into the unknown for Aldenon, which I think makes sense for the Wanderer
yeah.
who's seen a lot and
Yeah, that
has a
does
lot
make sense.
more perhaps practical like Because it sounds like you've got most of your knowledge from studying, right?
Yeah, most of it. I kind of imagine it's a mixture of like the practical coming in with just
Yeah.
the theoretical, and also like Aldenon is someone who probably has kept some. I've gotten the impression is someone who keeps a lot of things kind of close to the chest. So but like, correct
Yeah,
me if
like
I'm wrong
it's
on that.
yeah, no, like you're definitely right. It's like it's strange. Like it's how do I explain this? It's basically the sensation of someone who like is very open and forthcoming with like how they feel and how they interact with everybody, but you feel like they're always holding something back they don't talk
Right.
about, but you don't know what, so you don't know how to ask for it.
I feel like that actually in that case that makes the bond work because I feel like Yolanda has a similar thing about like if someone asks her, it's like, what do you know? It's like, oh, I know here's 3 giant libraries worth of information just in your head, and it's like, okay, why did you do all this, or why did you learn all this? And she's like, you know, I couldn't give you an answer. Of course, she can give you an answer, but she's not going to, or she's not ready to do that. So I feel like that's a good touchstone for the two of them to have. It's like,
Yeah, exactly.
like we're both like, I'll tell you, here's 8,000 facts in like 2 seconds. And Alnon's like, what did you know about this place? Or like, how are you feeling today? It's like, oh, here's 6,000 feelings or like details. It's like, what's troubling you? Door
D100
closes for
feelings
both
table.
of us.
Perfect.
So
Awesome.
yeah, I think that works.
Awesome. Does anyone have a second relationship? Now we've got Angela's all squared away.
I have one that I'm not sure who to give it to, but I'm
Okay.
interested in having an answer to.
Okay.
So who wielded your focus once, if but for a moment?
So that's either Jupiter or Yolanda.
I want it.
Yeah. All the cool swords. All the cool
Sounds like
swords.
power,
3 swords.
Yes.
Change the sign, everybody. It's been 0 days since Jupiter has caused magic-related mishap.
Oh my god, your sword looks so cool. Okay, can you tell me about it too? Like, why did I wield the focus? What was happening?
Huh. I have a feeling. I think I want to say that like we were in some sort of like fight, and I was like taken out or like dropped it in some way, and you're like my turn and like grabbed it and started like unleashing the like powers within it.
Absolutely. I apologized after, but I did not ask permission. I just asked for forgiveness.
You know, and I might not have been in a position to have given it anyway. I think was a situation like I was probably out cold or something.
Okay.
Where like, you know, I was definitely like mad, but in the way that like I can't actually be mad at you because I was not conscious, so I'm not happy, but I'm also like you. It's like a grudge that I can't actually like
It's
have
like
any justification for actually holding.
I'm mad at myself for letting myself like pass out in the fight type situation.
Exactly.
That's great. It was so destructive too.
I see we're going the
and,
Dr. Fate's helmet route of approaching this situation. We're just like, I'm gonna put this on. Like Jupiter's like, nope, we're in a terrible situation. We're gonna go. Gotta use a sword. It's like,
the other thing is when you wield it. I think it's like 2 things happened that were probably surprising to you. Surprising thing 1 is when you started swinging it around, it turned into a halberd.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Surprising thing 2 is you might have started taking aspects of a blue crab while you were holding it.
Okay. I feel like the whole time I was screaming about how scary this was and how terrifying. Like, I don't know what's happening, but like, die. Trying to kill whatever. I don't even know why we're fighting or what we're fighting yet.
On that little note, to keep us moving along, that leaves who showed you a place you'd never seen anything like for Yolanda, which I think works out.
Yeah,
Since
I think
Yolanda
so.
has all this knowledge of places that you might not have been able to stumble across.
And also has the means to summon them to show you.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
What if it's an illusory place? Yeah.
Oh, I can be I can be the perfect tourist guide because I can make all of the things I can show you all of the dangerous things in a place you've never been, but I can choose to selectively not make those parts real.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. Let's see if we move along. Alex and B, do either of you have your question or volunteer?
I've got to
Let's-
post mine to the ether. Do you want to go first, though, Alex?
Yeah, I have. Who would you lay your life down for, though they would never let you? That could be Aldi. That sounds
Almost
kind of cute with me like letting you live at my house. I'm like, I'm gonna take care of you. And you're like, I'm a cool hero. I don't need you to.
Don't make my guilt worse.
Yeah.
Oh.
Feed the guilt. Feed
Okay,
the
if my
guilt.
arm gets broken off, I can simply reattach it. I've done it before.
Perfect.
Oh no, what does that leave me for then?
You're the person who's a danger to themselves and those around.
Oh yes.
And
Oh
it leaves
yes.
for
Ooh,
Yolanda.
then it's you and Yolanda. What's that?
Yes, so ours could either be who did you once make a gadget for to solve a deeply personal problem, or
Ooh,
who inspires you to make new gadgets. I could see either one of those.
those are good.
The first one, I'd say it would be a very body manipulative related concern.
Mm-hmm.
The second one would just be us nerding out. So take your pick. That because I get to see either of those being pretty valid.
I think
for her.
I could see leaning into the first one if that sounds good to you.
Yeah, I kind of imagine, because one of the things on the hopeful side, I think that I picked was body manipulation. I think it's on my sheet. If I pulled it up right now,
It is.
yeah,
in fact.
it's altered body. I kind of imagine
Mm.
because it's a new thing, she doesn't really have a good control over it just yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of imagine it like a focus, like
Oh, cool.
like a gadget based sort of focus, and like her concern about it would be primarily like, do you know a way to make this so that it I know people like she would be super awkward about it and be like, I know people have like various kinds of heights and stuff, but do you know what the size for an average girl is?
Oh, it's so good. Maybe there's a little statue that I've been making for you that's like how you want to like ideally look, and then I can be like refining it and changing it for you.
Oh,
So you're like, I want to practice like this, like that. Yeah. Okay. Wait. Try making it a little taller. And I'm like, okay. Okay. Try make the hair a little longer. Okay. What about this? That would be really cute.
yeah. I think that works.
And if you're like, okay, I want to practice, growing a big monster arm. Okay.
We just tweak a couple of things. I'm like, okay, that works.
Yeah. It's made out of like pewter or something soft that you can reshape really easily.
You also have the ability to magically like create anything if you have the components. So I imagine you could probably reshape it if you just have spare like material for it.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. But I kind of imagine she wants a certain kind of body. She doesn't want to admit that straight away.
Mhm.
So she's just been like, this works whenever we need it for a situation. I don't need this for personal angst purpose whatsoever.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
not
good.
at all.
I just need to practice with my superpowers.
Well, now that we've got the wholesome and pure one out of the way, let's go over to Jupiter.
Excellent. All right, I need help with this one, y'all.
Okay.
Who helps me feel more mortal than anyone else?
Oh.
So this has to be Yolanda or I don't know, pick your
Tamal. That's a hard one. Like,
I mean,
I don't even know like what's mortal to me. You're gonna have to help me define that. I scoff
Right.
at mortality.
I could have like a slightly similar life experience to you just because I'm also like a being with a weird origin and like maybe I'm immortal. I don't know. I haven't died yet.
You could convince me with that argument. I think that's how Octavia did it, my yes leader.
I also I had the thought too that like Yolanda could also fit that if she made you bend the knee at one point. Like
Okay, I
she
want to
just
hear
got-
this one.
Like I kind of imagine just like where it was like a usual thing of Jupiter maybe saying something or like trying to be brash about something, and then Yolanda being like, no, this is going to be a bad idea, and it's like, no, I can't actually die, like I have, and then I'm just like, listen, and then is like a moment of like the energy manifested, and then it was like sank you to the ground so you couldn't move. So it was a moment of just like forced humility. She was immediately like, I'm sorry about that. That does not normally happen.
I probably cried just like a wee bit. I am not used to being told what to do like that.
I think it worked. Your call. I think either of those ways of approaching it work really well.
I like Yolanda's.
That's really cool. Yeah, I love that.
Again, we're not looking for wholesome here.
I mean, hey, your next question, you have a choice of whether to make it wholesome or not. And this one is for Tamal.
Oh, I don't like
How
the
does
sound
it
of that.
go?
We all worry.
The
oh,
choices
weird.
are:
Go
who
ahead.
did you once sell out to your patron, or who makes you regret your pact when you spend time with them? So one very tragic, and one also tragic, but in a wholesome way.
Did I sell you out to the sun god, or do you make me regret my pact when I spend time with you, and how?
Interesting. I could definitely go for either of those. I'd kind of like to be sold out to a sun god. That sounds cool.
My hit new album sold out. To the sun god.
So I think I'm very like trusting, verging on gullible, so it would be very easy to sell me out.
We bonded when you told me your like life story, and I was like, Psh, we could use this person. Just watch.
Woo. You're a danger to yourself and others, including me.
Oops. All right.
I like the idea that our most chaotic individual and/or potential source of trouble is also the direct danger to our mom member of our group. Just setting up this dynamic so well. I'm so happy about it.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And that's all the relationships.
Yeah.
We got them. Alright, we have one last thing. We took a bit more time next time, but it's all good. Lastly, every one of you, and we'll go through the order starting with Angela all the way through B, has a question on your primary playbook. It is your team question. First, actually, before we get that though, there is the genre team question, which I need to quickly find.
Is there? Oh, yes, there is. I believe you.
Yeah, give me a second. Okay, so our genres are superhero and fantasy. I think, so we'll go with the fantasy. When we first worked together as a team, we happened upon a previously unseen threat to our world that we were able to stop in that moment. What is this threat, and what would have happened if it was left unchecked?
Was it a demigod?
Ooh.
Those are cool.
And I mean, that's my intro if somebody wants to take that and run with it. It's an unseen threat. Like, we exist. We chill.
Yeah.
We're not really supposed to hang out with y'all because we're a little chaotic, but like, if we have good friends, it's fine. Maybe this one didn't have very good friends. They went down the evil route, started terrorizing the water folk. Nobody believes the water folk, so they went to us. I would love for y'all to collab.
No.
Yeah,
I'm letting the
sounds
gears.
very
I'm
cool.
letting the gears
Okay.
build off of that.
I
Like,
will keep
or-
talking.
Alright.
rampaging deity works.
like-
I think.
Oh, you got something?
I have a thought. So maybe there was some sort of demigod who was related to like coral, and they had some sort of problem or like got poisoned or possessed or something, and started just like growing out of control and like spreading over everything. So it was like this really wide threat that needed like a bunch of capable heroes to take it down, and we had to like smash through this coral and try to get to the person in the middle and rescue them or fight them or whatever.
Okay, I have something with this. What if the threat isn't necessarily the demigod or the coral demigod exactly, but the thing that caused them to go wild?
I like that.
Unseen threat. I dig it. I dig
Um,
it.
I don't know what it is, but I feel that's like my thought. It's like it's something. I feel like we at least need like some description of it, just to have like some concrete thing to latch onto to be afraid of. But
I was imagining a parasite.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
Because I just watched videos of Skyward Sword bosses today where an actual deity of the sky has like a worm that possesses part of its body and like grows out of it. So I was imagining what if something noxious, like a creature, became attached to like the coral deity to make it go berserk.
That sounds very cool. That's not on anybody's lines and veils or anything, is it?
Yeah, actually, that's good.
I'm good.
That's, my bad.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't, but
Yeah.
always good to check.
It could just be something that was aggravating it as opposed to like possessed it too.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a parasite that can infect gods, because then that can come back later and be really cool.
Why would that ever come back? Don't look at this Chekhov's gun that I'm stuffing into my pocket. No.
Is it a Chekhov's gun or is it like a catapult? I feel like when it's we have to go with bigger narrative weaponry as our metaphors here.
No, why would you ever say that?
Chekhov's cluster bomb.
Have
So
I done
what's
anything
the
to any of my players in the history of being a GM to make them feel that way?
what's the aesthetic that this parasite has? Like, what's the sign that someone is being attacked by it or manipulated by it?
That's
Tea
important.
anemone.
Purple eyes.
Purple eyes, cool.
Ooh.
I like the idea to go full diegetic like anime fight music of maybe there's like a song that plays like a
Okay,
divine like tune when this parasite latches
If
on
this
someone.
is an actual thing, you and I need to talk, and we're gonna get music on this stream.
Okay.
We're going to. I will write this if necessary.
Deadass.
We need the
this.
parasite song.
Okay,
Boss fight.
JR can sing in Latin. This is gonna work. We can put this together.
Get a recording of JR singing in Latin.
I have an idea for appearance. What about a lamprey?
Ooh.
Lampreys
I
are
like it.
cool.
Yes.
Very
Like,
creepy.
it's just like it just looks innocuous, like the kind of thing that maybe a deity would have shrugged off, but it's much more like cruel and malicious. Like it's something that aggravates, especially for something in coral or the sea. A lamprey fits the kind of like pseudo parasitic vibe.
Is it too creepy if it latches on like to your throat and then it starts singing in your voice and that's what the song is?
Ooh.
That is unnerving, and I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I do too. I'm really into it.
A horrible magnified version of your own voice, just constantly
Yeah.
singing. Oof.
It's good.
Cool.
The worst kind of good.
Awesome. I will only add that I think it's, even though it is a lamprey, it doesn't look like normal sea-dwelling lamprey do. Rather, it looks like it's adapted more to the sky.
Neat.
So like wings instead of fins, basically? Or are you thinking like a lot more radical?
A flap ray.
Thanks for that image.
I don't know if it. Yeah, I think maybe it can like extend out wings out of its bodies, or maybe it just kind of floats like Dratini from Pokemon.
Just a bad Dratini.
May I offer jellyfish wings?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like because jellyfish have the almost like ethereal see-through kind of thing to their whole bodies. What if that's the
Yeah.
wings?
It's
Yeah,
got
that's
Ripley
perfect.
sorta.
That's good.
We effectively just made Baronade from Ocarina of Time, but we made it a lamprey. I'm okay with this.
Right?
Yeah.
Alright, with that, we now have your individual questions. So, Angela, you're first. When we first worked together as a team, we destroyed a valuable piece of knowledge. Where was this located and what got destroyed?
I like that question.
Oh boy, I'm trying to think. Was the okay? So this is when we first worked together. So it
Yeah.
would have been probably
During the coral incident.
during the coral incident.
Yeah. Either during that fight or up to it, or
I
Water
cannot hear you.
something.
I'm trying to think because like it probably would have been something aquatic or something about ancient history of some kind. Because if her domain, because her, I was thinking about this in relation to like Yolanda's like domains, which are history and culture. I imagine it must have been something of extremely high significance of historical nature. So it might have been scrolls.
maybe it's something from Yolanda's own history from before the updraft, from wherever Yolanda is from, to kind of keep it
That's
so you're
true.
not destroying like an external thing.
Yeah, it might have just been something from personal archives or personal history that was just or yeah, it's talked about something from where she was from before she went like topside
Mm-hmm.
because down below probably would have been a place after she left it. She wouldn't have gone back as often,
Yeah.
so probably her coming back was like, "This is very valuable." And
Unless one possibility could be that it's like the coral reef itself. Like it could almost be like mythical, like a Garden of Eden kind of thing. And that's what brought you there?
hmm, there could have been. I'm wondering too because what did I put under my previews? Ritual and tradition, creation, and discovery. I wonder if there's something about like something cyclical that's reliant on something in the natural like geography or terrain that the coral god was actually like the local like steward over. So when this terrain went like started to get corrupted or get hurt, then it became an issue of like it maybe one of the first areas it could have been it would the risk would have been either don't stop it and this location of the knowledge would be
Yeah.
fine, or stop it but the results of it, whatever was necessary to stop it,
Yeah.
like just absolutely destroyed the location. It was like
Mm.
other people take priority over my personal interests. This will not become a recurring theme with this character at all.
Does not put away another checkups gun. No.
Yeah, so I think probably a library containing extremely personal like knowledge from her history or or
Cool.
local or
I think
like
that's
of magical significance.
I think that's a solid answer. Awesome. Uh, for Aldenon, when we first worked together as a team, how did your original home complicate the situation?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this and I have no idea. I'm like, there's a couple ways. So, first question is what is do we want to interpret it as like my home or using my home as a proxy to talk about like chosen stuff?
Oh, I
I'm
mean,
leaning toward it being the actual home just because we
mhm.
haven't talked about it
Yeah,
that much yet, but I'm not
maybe.
sure what to do with it.
I mean, maybe either the demigod or the lamprey has some connection to your home, some
Oh,
way.
oh. Well, the demigod probably.
Oh,
I mean, my focus produces a like chitinous coral armor when I transform, so that might be related.
yeah.
Nice. Are you
Oh,
buds?
My what?
Are you friends? Like you could know them. And then it would be
Oh.
even sadder because you have to fight your friends.
Oh, jeez.
Oh god.
Actually, that sounds pretty plausible. Oh no.
uh,
That could tie into my question as well, actually.
Uh,
Because mine is when we first worked together as a team, we saved someone that was important to someone on the team. Who did we save and who are they important to? So it could be that in the end, we were actually able to save this coral demigod. We didn't have to like take them down.
I mean, Aldi would be the kind of person who just casually makes friends with a demigod only because they like aren't like overawed and just be like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" to like them.
You
And
pull
this
the
is like
horrible.
even before like any of the like weird chosen stuff happening, they're just like, you know, just like go up and just like, oh, how's it going? Like talking to them as if they're saying hi, but it's an ancient all powerful demigod.
That's great.
Walks up to God and gives a high five. Is
Yeah,
essentially the
basically,
vibe.
basically that. Like high five. Oh, you want some tea? They're like, I haven't
Drink
had
that.
tea in millennia.
I've not been offered tea in such a long time.
And finally, that brings us to Jupiter. When we first worked together as a team, what happened during the encounter that made witnesses think of us as extraordinary and also not a normal part of society?
I mean, that's an easy question to answer. For one, I can speak from Jupiter's experience, where when in battle they control fire and water. Just other things. They got a magical sword that was gifted to them by a god, so it does stuff. And that's not exactly normal. Then you look over at Aldenon, and do you want to give me a brief battle descriptor? Like, what does it look like if you in battle? Like, we whip your sword, and your arm kind of.
Yeah, so I guess basically what happens is that I basically get like like coral like, but it's basically it feels like you're touching a crab, like chitinous kind of like armor. It I guess not. It's definitely like kind of looks like plate mail in the sense of like that kind of bulk and coverage on someone.
And a swipe of your sword that just becomes a halberd.
Oh yeah, it's like with the swipe of the sword, like it just like kind of like a sort of tide envelops me, and then when the water goes away, then I'm like enveloped in everything, and the sword's a halberd. Also, I become really strong because I can single-handedly swing a halberd around.
Yo.
I love that. So yeah, that's when people look out at that, they think, that's a little extraordinary. Tamal, what do folks witness that's extraordinary about?
I think it's also probably the first time any of you saw me transform either, which is also
Nice, yeah.
I've wanted to pick up that sword ever since.
That's cool. I think they see Timbal doing a lot of like supporting and helping out her allies, and like kind of trying to help like direct the flow of combat. I think there are moments in this fight where she like yells at someone to move out of the way right before like a big swinging piece of coral comes crashing down right where they were, and then like sort of seeming to read things before they happen, and then like helping people to get up when they're hurt and stuff.
What about from Yolanda? What would witnesses claim is extraordinary about her?
There's multiple of her that suddenly appear. She's floating in midair, and the robes have become a long, like, scarlet and pink coat. And also, there's fantastical creatures that make no sense in terms of size being there right next to her to keep her safe. There's a lot of that happening.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I guess I could also be pulling out different weapons from like my hammer space in my arm and just like tossing them to people who need them at the right moment.
Oh my goodness.
May I offer the additional thought? You create the weapons, toss them into the air. Creatures leap up, grab them in their mouths, and swing them. So we get like Great Wolf Sif moment.
Yeah.
The saddest part of that sequence.
Oh, that's sick.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I summon Ice Sword for my giant wolf.
Yeah.
Shark with spear attached to it.
Yes.
The dog has a knife. Or what is it?
The
monkey?
The
monkey has a gun.
No. Every combat is just everyone watching, being like, "Wait, what is that army of crabs have? Knives? No!"
Crab battle.
You've heard the Roombas with a knife, but get ready. Perfect. All right. And so with that, we have all the pieces we need to start getting into it. We got about 20 minutes before we gotta do plugs, so I'm gonna just throw us right into it. So I think some time has passed since that first encounter. I think you all have encountered a few more lampreys and demigods since then, and you can make them up as relevant if you so want to. You ran into a few, and then for about a month now, I will say, not a single other one has appeared. Y'all have kind of continued traveling around, expecting the next to show up any time now, and it just hasn't happened. Imagine y'all go around doing similar things to what you were doing before. Jupiter trying to get the swords broken. Tidebearer trying to deal with. Question, quick for Tidebearer, real quick. What does dealing with the Skybreaker look like normally? Like, is it you go somewhere to fight some minions, or do you do a ritual, or what does the event look like?
I think it depends. So, I think usually it's a mixture of like like when I go to a place, it's like one or two things is like top of mind. So it's either investigation. So like, oh, like I need to do research because like it's probably like something like a maybe not necessarily cyclical threat, but like has appeared in the past before and was defeated by a previous tide bear, that kind of thing. So like I need to find some records and like figure out like maybe learn some things. Or if I'm trying to deal with like a Skybreaker thing directly, it would be, oh, I heard some rumors of something bad going on, and it's probably like making sure that like an island isn't collapsing and figuring out like what's causing instability or skyquakes or something and solving that problem.
And is the Skybreaker like a supervillain or a god, or what's up with it? Do we know?
Yeah, what do we categorize them as? How much do I hate them?
Okay, how much do I lean into all the fantasy I've read? Okay, why not? Let's just go full in.
Lean in.
Let's describe this entity as, you could say they're a god, kind of, but more in the sense that they like have forced themselves into the pantheon and no one wants them to be there. and really, they don't come from this universe. They're like outside of the universe and are. I don't want to say they're trying to consume the whole universe or whatever, but they're really trying to consume some. Like it's like consumption. Like the reason like things are falling is it's trying to like take the resources from these places, and what's left just like withers away, kind of situation.
Nice. It eats the flying out of the island.
Yeah. Well, I guess. Sure.
Wait, so are we at like Galactus levels of destruction, or are we at like Sin from Final Fantasy X levels of destruction, where it's just general an island gets kind of demolished?
I think it's probably Sin.
Sin.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like they're probably potentially, or like the end prophecy is probably them showing up in like a Galactus event if they collect enough power or something, or like that's the worst prophecy that people fear. I have to imagine, right? Like if you fail enough times, they'll just end it all.
Yeah, and like I think like right now it's not like their manifested sin wandering around so much as like the in between times of sin, like where everyone's worried that the like next disaster is oncoming, but it's a lot longer period than like 10 years.
Gotcha. So we're kind of dealing with, at least as in regards to Skybreaker, a being who's like world-ending levels of destruction, so full-on Galactus level if it gets that bad, if they gain enough power.
Yeah. And I think right now it's like not like it's basically there's lots of like its tendrils like getting everywhere and making and causing problems, and it's like, and I'm just trying to like put them all out like tiny fires just like emerging everywhere, but then you have to always worry if one of them like completely like goes wildfire and starts going
we're fighting Sin. This is what I gathered from this
I have
conversation.
no idea what's going on here, but I approve it fully. I did not play the Final Fantasy. I understand enough. I'll make it work. Okay.
I haven't played 10. I understand barely enough of what's going on to hold this conversation.
Okay. So, with that, yeah, so you're traveling around, sometimes you gotta do some tide bearer stuff. Sometimes I'm sure Yolanda will drag you off to a library somewhere, be like, but this island has a really cool library. Yeah.
There's shit we should learn. Like there's or rather we can learn, therefore why aren't we already doing it?
Curious what specifically basically, I guess Small just kind of travels wherever there's someone to help, right? Mostly, or is there somewhere specific that you follow a travel path?
I think, yeah, I think I would be okay with sticking pretty much with the group. I think I have like a home base that I need to return to eventually, or like
Yeah.
occasionally, which is where my smithy is. And I'm not sure how restricted we should or shouldn't be on travel. Because just saying, oh, I've got a portal in my arm,
Yeah.
we can just hop through it and get back there would probably be a little much. And I
Yeah, I think
couldn't
it
go
could take...
through it myself, so that would be weird.
Mhm.
I think it's not passable by like
Yeah.
living beings.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a sky slash river slash sun demigod, and but yeah, I think so. I think to hone this in on our scene, um, you all have been traveling around doing your usual shticks, and you just I think we'll go back to the town actually where Tamal is from. I think is where we'll start us off, or at least your workshop is from. If you go
Cool.
with that.
Yeah, sure.
And what's going on right now is y'all came here after having dealt with your latest incident just in time for... Oh, I need a name for this. Uh, but we'll come up with a name. But a festival that takes place, the probably the largest festival and one of the biggest moments in that comes by every while is the lunar alignment of all the moons we have. Because we've established that there are a lot of moons,
That's
right?
so many moons.
That is so many
They
moons.
align. Wow.
They align once every, I would say once every blue moon, but I think that expression loses meaning in this
Uh,
context.
Like
You have a
in
blue
one,
moon, you got a
Unless
magenta
they
moon, you got a
one
purple
line?
moon.
they just become one giant blue moon. That's what the expression means here.
they just moosh together.
Also, blue moons are somewhat frequent.
I don't think it's like a perfect
Really?
alignment, but I do think they end up like so lined up or so close to one another that it really fucks with the tides on the surface. In a way that tends, for the most part, to isolate the surface and the sky islands for a period of time, like leading up to and after the alignment. And so when that happens, right before uh, a lot of the cultures who live on the islands who need fish because they're anthropomorphic creatures who eat fish, because a lot of different species have natural food of being fish, have to prepare for the fact that they're not going to have access to the surface for a while. So there's a massive like cultural salting festival of salting fish to preserve them so that they have enough supplies for the period of time where it's just not sustainable to go down and acquire new fresh fish. And
Nice.
so that is the festival we are arriving on. I think, Tamal, you've probably seen this once. I guess it depends. How long have you been created for? Do you
I
think?
think like 25 years probably.
Okay.
So I spent like 10 or 15 years in that
Yeah.
first little village, just like wandered over there,
Yeah.
like, oh hey, what's going on here? Guess I'll live here and be a chill little small town blacksmith, and
Yeah.
then it got washed away.
I think you did a couple of times. Like I don't. So I think this scale of alignment only happens once every while. But there are smaller like alignments or organizations of the moon such that it makes going to the surface untenable. And so they've had smaller salting festivals before that are just like, oh,
Mhm.
this will get us by for a week, right? Like we just need to get enough supplies to last a week or two. This one
Mhm.
is a much more massive scale than anything. And any of you all
It's
can
like
decide.
a grand alignment, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, grand
Yeah.
alignment.
Like I think probably it might make sense that you have something similar to this in your hometown, Eldenon. Um, Yolanda, you've probably read about a lot of such events since you study cultures. Jupiter, I have no clue if you know anything about this.
I don't understand the point. Like, why not just fish in the choppy waters? Are they not strong enough?
People don't want to die.
I don't understand death either.
I don't think you understood kneeling a while ago, but you can learn.
I want to talk about that. Jeez.
Ah, so we're gonna open up on. I think it's a very celebratory festival. There's a lot of bright colors, um, a lot of flowers strung up and strewn about. Well, why don't you give us a bit of a description of the town where your workshop is?
Okay. Yeah, I think it is fairly like not as big as a city. It's pretty much like a town. But it has some lovely I think it's sort of backed up to the edge of the island, as a
Okay.
lot of towns are, so it has easy access to getting down to the sea. And just because it's cool, I think there's a river running through it that goes through the middle of the town, kind of like curves and turns, and then just goes off the edge.
Mm,
So it's constantly spilling off there, and they've got some. I think there's some construction down the side of the island to make like water wheels that run off the waterfall power. Um, and that helps power some of the like magical and mechanical
mm,
innovations in the town.
uh-huh. Is there any specific like cultural or architectural styling you're thinking of for this town?
Not really.
All right. So with that, you are all. What are y'all getting up to during this festival? So obviously you can participate in salting of the fish. There's a bunch of activities for kids, kind of like how you have Easter egg hunts during Easter for younger kids and similar stuff like that.
Find the hidden fish,
yeah.
or else it will smell.
I think there's got to be a bit of a pranking culture around like some of the fish that's like, oh, we can't use this for food, so we're not wasting food supplies. Um, that like gets caught up in nets or whatever. That people just turn into a pranking culture.
That's
Uh,
amazing.
it's like, well, this isn't valuable supplies, and the kids are like, we will take this. Uh,
A balloon made out of a puffer fish.
oh my
Oh,
god. Hi, Terraria called it. Would like its item back.
You're
Yeah, I'm just thinking if it's a pufferfish, how dangerous that would be.
Right.
That's
Uh,
like-
best pranks have an element of risk.
it's basically a poisoned mace.
Yes. Not a prank unless somebody might pass. When we celebrate all at once.
Yeah. So there could be other activities as there. So where do we find everyone during this festival?
Should we be together or should we be spread out?
I just want to celebrate, and everybody looks busy.
I will go and celebrate with you if you do not mind having my company.
That would be wonderful. We will celebrate. Who else is with us? I don't want to salt fish. I'll throw that fish back in the water.
I'm in the middle of salting a fish and I'm like looking up.
It's like, huh? You say something?
I guess you wouldn't shake a salt shaker onto it. What do? Put it in a barrel?
Yeah, I think for the most
Barrel
part.
of salty water? Something like that?
Hold on, I can, because I have a real world thing that I'm drawing on for this.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. That's actually really lovely. In my lack of touchstones for that particular event, I'm just picturing a barrel full of like coarse salt you scoop with your hands. Hope you don't get them in any of your hand wounds. And you just like smush it on the. But that does not sound right at all.
Yeah, so basically so first you like dry it out in the sun, right? And then you basically pickle it in a barrel of salt.
Nice.
Ah.
Yeah. So I'm arranging some fish very carefully and like stacking them so that they're like right around the edges of the barrel. You know, they tessellate very nicely with each other.
I feel like different people have like slightly different like ratios of salt and or sugar or whatever else you put in there of like, your family recipe for the pickles.
That's so good.
You hear three aunties like arguing in the background over like the proper way
Yeah.
it's supposed to be done. They're getting it's like getting increasingly louder, and everyone is just slowly moved away
Yeah.
from them. So like, they're like, should we stop them? It's like, just let them be.
And I feel like eventually the grandma walks in, looks at all three of them, says they're all wrong, does it without even saying the recipe, does it, and then walks away.
And you know that's gonna be the best barrel.
Yeah.
Almost.
I I kind of imagine that Yolanda has just like had a book that she keeps constant notes in, and like a lot of her like material she's like archived over time in like a written form. But she's probably, even for like most people around here, most more like humanoid types, like she's having an extraordinary amount of like very salty brined like pickles and such. I personally don't like pickles. This is the one difference between our characters. For
Only
some
one.
reason, like she just, whatever it is, she just has she has this strange strong craving for salt, and like she's occasionally like opening up like a bottle with like some pills in it, chucks one in, and then she's closing it and she's fine.
Have we described? Should we do what our characters look like at this
Yeah,
point? Do we have enough
yeah,
time?
yeah, we have time.
Sweet.
Tamal, while you're salting, what is the image we see of you here?
Yeah. So Tamal is. I think she stops salting and she goes up and starts like hanging some more fish on like a clothesline outside. They're like strung
Oh my
across
god, you.
the streets. And we can see that she is a living statue made out of sort of like a darker brownish kind of grandy looking material that has like little black flecks in it if you look at it up close. So I put her as having a Latina look because that's about like what she averages out to color wise. And she is her look is ambiguous and feminine. Her gender umbrella is woman and demi-cis, demi-woman, because she's like, I look feminine and people sort of call me that, but I don't have like a super strong attachment to the concept of gender one way or the other. But she has she's got carved like sort of shoulder length hair, and I think she's got little like ram's horns on the sides of her head that are also just stone. You know, she was just happened to be carved as that type of person.
Did we bond over that?
Yeah, that'd be great. Or I mean, maybe you made fun of me. I don't know.
Maybe that was our bonding, you know?
That's good. Yeah.
Light driven.
And I think her face is very like calm and kind of kind and patient looking. She's got little smile lines carved around her eyes, and I think that she moves when her facial expression changes or when she speaks. It's in a slightly like stop motiony looking way, like it's not fluid. It kind of like to different expressions, but like her mouth can open and stuff. And she is wearing her forge armor as she usually is, which is sort of like it's armor that's modeled to look like she's wearing like a big heavy blacksmith's apron, so it leaves her shoulders bare and her arms. And then she's got like big, just extremely hefty, ridiculous like black iron bracers on both of her arms, and they're very ornate. She has the look. Menacing and magnificent and stylish and slick. So if you look closely at the black iron of her armor, it is very like embellished and detailed, and there's little like bits of the armor that look like a cresting wave or like nature shapes or animal faces and things, sort of like almost like how you would adorn a cathedral, but just at a very, very small scale on this dark armor. And then the other notable feature is that as you're looking at the like apron front of her armor, in the belly, there's like a big round door that's like the front of like a furnace where you would like open it up and see you can see like glowing orange light coming out from between the bars of it. And occasionally, you know, she might decide that a fish isn't quite dry enough, and she'll like open up the door and then just like hold it in front of there, and you can see the like furnace heat just blasting out of there that like dries it out just a little bit more, and then she closes it back up again, like puts a shutter down over the bars. And I think since we're next to her workshop, you can also see that as she's doing that, there is a furnace in the workshop, and then there's a little like sort of like very intricate magical circle that is like, I think yeah, it's probably just hovering in midair, right? Like a magic circle do, carved with a bunch of really intricate little magical script, and then it sort of like lights up and activates. You can see the street outside and a fish going down in front of it. And then it whoop, closes up again.
Oh.
I have a question for Tamal.
Yeah.
Do the kids go around and warm their hands on your
I
like,
was wanting to know that too.
Yes,
Beautiful.
definitely. That's super cute. Yeah, I think they're since this is the city that she calls home, they're just constantly like children climbing all over her and like trying to
Mhm.
play with her hair, which doesn't work because it's stone.
Adorable.
Yeah, but she endures this stoically.
Aldi, what are you up to?
So, because like the power comes from one of the moons, specifically the 41st moon. Um, uh,
Keep going.
um, I think that because of like the celestial cosmic significance of this event, like I'm going to like some sort of like temple or a place like that, and I want to commune with it and see if it has any like
Ooh.
an oracle for me or something
Okay.
like that. And I didn't like go wander off without like telling anyone.
Yeah.
But how I explained it was, oh, I'm gonna go talk to I'm gonna go talk to a moon. Bye, and left.
Perfect. We will cut to that in a second and what you look like. Let's cut to our celebratory friends first. Where are you going to celebrate? And why don't you describe yourselves once you decide that?
Is there a tavern?
Oh,
Yeah,
First
Yolanda,
session.
can you pick a tavern? I just pick the one where we think there's the most reveling.
I kind of imagine Yolanda just sort of puts a hand to her forehead. There's very elegant, though still practical looking long robes of like deep reds and orange,
yeah.
with occasional like at the edges the faintest bit of like pink to them. She has like long black hair that she's probably pulled back and sort of braided, so just to get it to be more manageable. And she's like has the book out, and she's just like like letting it levitate in front of her, but still holding it, like just like the base of it. And then she's just peering through, and she looks up, and she's trying to see which of the taverns looks like it makes her the most anxious to go into.
Okay.
And she picks that one.
Perfect.
Wow.
Okay. So, um, hmm. So, you find the Kingfisher's Crown,
Ooh.
a brightly colored establishment, where just it looked like the owner hired a kid to paint it, then hired another kid to paint over that, and then did that a bunch more times to get the exterior appearance of the tavern. Uh, the only thing that looks professional is the drawing of a kingfisher, which looks incredibly detailed of an anthropomorphic kingfisher. Um, and then the crown looks like it was drawn by a toddler who was sketching with a crayon.
Kid knows what's up.
Is the Kingfisher like ripped?
Oh yes,
Is he
now
shredded?
yes now they are.
Nice.
I feel like I should be surprised that this is a question that Alex asked, and then I remember it's Alex asking it, and I'm
Just thought I would
unsurprised
check.
entirely.
Yeah. So you enter the Kingfisher's Crown, and it is a place where there's a mix of people. There's some people who you can tell have been like salting fish and helping either haul stuff up from the nets all day and are taking a rest now. There are some of the people who like are not as like either great at physical like arrangement and coordination for getting the fish in the barrel or not as strong, and so they don't help with this part of the festivities and the preparations. And they're all just here kind of enjoying. The tavern itself is headed by, of course, a anthropomorphic kingfisher. I think a lot of the creatures around here are various birds, specifically fish-eating birds. Um, and so the anthropomorphic kingfisher standing behind the bar lets out a at like a customer's joke and then slides over the drink, very clearly playing his audience. He is, as Alex pointed out, shredded as fuck.
The painting is accurate.
Yes, the painting does not do him justice. You can tell he has gotten more shredded since the painting has happened.
Nice.
You tell like the painting, looking at him, I don't know what like the bird equivalent of gray hair is, but like he's starting to get a little older, and somehow, despite like the painting being painted in the prime of his youth, and he is old now, he is even more shredded and more
Ew.
fit. But like even even with his, like, when he turns his long beak towards you, you just get a really friendly, welcoming smile, like big himbo energy coming off this tavern keeper.
Big himbo energy coming off this anthropomorphic Kingfisher. TTRPGs are fun.
They're good. They're good,
I just
actually.
want to remind folks of that. Let's just revel in this. This is what we
Yes.
do.
So
Why don't we get a description of Jupiter and
yes.
and Yolanda as you walk up to our Kingfisher?
Well, Jupiter is leading the way for sure. He slammed open those doors so they would bash against the back wall to attract any onlookers who might have otherwise missed his entrance. Jupiter is tall for whatever tall is in these parts, mainly due to like the extra 6 inches that he gets from his antlers. But it counts towards his height. He will stand on the hill and die on that hill. He has dark brown skin that kind of matches the fur on his ears. It goes back into a fade down the side of his hair. He is wearing a rather tight fitted crop top that exposes his abs and the V all the way down to some equally tight fitting pants that go into some knee high. I think they're probably black heels. And he is wearing a faux fur vest. It's like faux fur cloak vest that definitely has to have his arms exposed as he strides dramatically into this bar.
Perfect. And then Yolanda, what does your entrance look like?
Far more subdued, and I don't think I think she's probably, even with the little amount of time so far we've all been working together, I think she's already used to like, oh, this is going to be one of those kinds of people to be around. I see. So probably she's maybe slightly delayed before coming in, because I'm imagining if it's a festival, because it's my MO, there's festival food. So my thought when we went to like salted fish, I went to like pickling and brine kind of things. So I'm imagining that she's like, from some distant place she's been to, she summoned up what looks like kind of kind of like circular like flatbreads, and he's just had a pair of those just floating like in one arm, one above one hand, that have been for whatever reason just kind of grilling, and they look like they have like deep beds of cheese inside them. It's pupusas for anyone who's wondering. And then the brine and like vinegary part is that she's like probably gone up to someone nearby and she's been like, could I have some of that? And like taken curtido, which is sort of like brine. It's like pickled like carrots, kind of like cabbage and things of that sort. And she's put that, and she's just conjured up her own like little carrying like pouch for it, and she's just like eating it, trying not to draw attention to herself. She just really wants something heavily salty and or like vinegary.
And I think if you're a tavern keeper that long, you know how to read your customers real fast. So one look at Jupiter, and he's like, "All right, so I'm gonna need to be making that like super obnoxious second." And and he's like, "I'm going to put that off as long as I have to," and turns to Yolanda and goes, "Oh, welcome. Could I come on in, please? Grab a stool right up at the bar. Could I interest you in some pickle juice?"
Yes, I would actually be quite amenable to that if you have any.
Of course. Would you like anything with that, or just the juice?
The juice would be just fine, unless you have something a little bit more on the acidic side of drinks.
He thinks for a second. Oh, I'm sure we can whip something right up. Grabs the pickle juice, grabs a whole lemon, uh, and just like one fell swoop slices it with their beak. And like it opens, drops perfectly into the juice. And then he grabs another lemon, does the same, but like then, oh god, because he's extra. So he like throws it up, slices it with his beak, and then like as it's falling, grabs it in his beak and squeezes the lemon juice into the pitcher using just the raw strength of his beak. Mixes the lemon juice with the pickle juice and slides it down to you.
You are wonderful. I gather you've had other customers like me a few times.
He grins and nods. I pride myself on being able to accommodate every customer's needs.
Most appreciated. It's been a while since I've been in places that have well, made me feel far less anxious than what they initially should have.
He smiles warmly. Well, the exterior certainly has an effect on a lot of people. Again,
I wouldn't be able to tell, and just like turns in Jupiter's direction.
uh, he, he, he keeps going like, we have it painted every year. Uh,
It is certainly not accurate in that case. You look quite good.
oh, I have managed to take care of myself. But yes, speaking of taking care of every customer's needs, what can I get you, kind sir?
Oh, you took so long. If you weren't talking to Yolanda, I would have shouted at you. I want a pitcher, margarita for me, and a shot of tequila for everybody in this bar. I want a celebration.
He looks around. Goes, uh, I'm assuming you have the coin to pay for that?
Do I have any money?
I
Uh,
I imagine this is a scenario that happens a lot for Jupiter.
Don't understand your monetary value.
right, well, as is our tradition, we make sure to give a drink to everyone who comes in to make sure that everyone's accommodated and no one's left untaken care of, but an extra shot like that is going to require some sort of barter.
I have a shiny rock I found, I think a couple days ago. It was in the water. It's just like
He gives
yeah.
you the like, alright, that's enough from you, kid look. Uh, and says, I'll begin starting on your margarita. And with the same sort of like kind of flair, grabs the pitcher in their beak, and he spends the entire time mixing it with like the pitcher in his beak as he moves without ever dropping a single drop. Uh, and on that note, let's cut over because we're coming close to time. And I'd like to wrap up and do plug soon. With let's cut over to Aldenon. Aldi. I think so. What you find um, is there is. I think the way it works is most places, like as we established, most cultures have different views of the moons, and different moons they hold in more significance. But I think for the most part, like most cultures have a generic shrine or two that are places where people can worship any moons or cultures outside. Like there's no way they can account for the infinite different cultures on the islands, but they can create spaces where people can then use for their own ends. And the shrine you arrive at, um, like the entire area is set up in the style of a nest, I think. Like a giant
Ooh,
nest
okay.
that is
Yeah.
suspended between a bunch of trees. Um, and there's different ways, like most of the bird people fly onto it, but there's ladders and stairs and ramps even, and different entry points to accommodate any. I think there's even a waterfall for some people who need to swim up onto it, if that's their easiest way of transport. Um, and I think the like main shrine is in the center to a variety of moons that I think um, that are worshipped by this culture because once a year they form into a wing formation, and they've assigned them different significances based on their position in the wing. Um, I, you can decide if 41 is one of these moons or not.
Like, what's the like metaphorical significance of the wing?
Um, I think it's just like a being mostly like a culture comprised of anthropomorphic birds. Um, to them, it's just like the moons that were most identifiable. I think it was probably they settled under the wing, like they were traveling, trying to find the perfect place on the islands to like make their permanent home, and the light of the wing shone as they arrived on this spot. Um, I do not have the ability off the top of my head to come up with like 12 different moon significances. But I think like there's different
You know,
moons like
I think I got this. Okay.
yeah.
Um, so I think the 41st moon, what I think named Tyrannus. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Is it's not in like the main set. So like
Okay.
when you see the moon not alignment, but the the picture
Formation.
of it, the formation like is like flat kind of plane,
Yeah.
but further behind, oftentimes like in the center of that arrangement, there's like moons that sometimes come in alignment behind that, and like so Tyrannus is one of those moons that like
Okay.
that isn't normally a part of it, but like in
Yeah.
special times of alignment, like aligns with that formation.
No, I love that. I think it like since I'm guessing the 41st moon for you has to do with the water to some degree, right?
Yeah, tides, water. I think especially like calm. Uh Basically it's the feeling of like um being deep underwater, where
Yeah.
the like waves can't shake you because you're in
Yeah.
a place like shielded from the tides, is that kind of
Cool.
feeling.
Yeah. I think like then it's probably gotta like be part of one of the like sub formations that makes it look more like a seabird of some kind, like it makes it look more like the wings of a swan or a duck or something. Um, and so like it still retains that like water connection to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, what is you? Why don't you describe yourself approaching this? And give us a
Okay.
little bit of yourself.
So I think probably like the first shot we see is just like um Aldi like walking up one of the ramps,
Yeah.
and you just like start with their feet where they're just always barefoot. That's just how they are. They don't like shoes. Um and so you just start their feet, and you like see that their shins have like leather greaves on them, and like
Hmm.
tight pants that's going up, and then you see their blue overcoat that like has like a hood, and the hood's clearly like sewn on. It's not part of the original coat's design, but I have added it at some point. And they're like, it's pretty nice. It's like definitely like fancy dyes that you can't just find anywhere, that I
Hmm.
probably like happen to have gone to that place to like get the dyes to like find this thing. And so it's a base blue dye, um like an ocean kind of color, and then say like where the inside part is, there's like red like coming up and down, and then the hood has like a yellow trim that goes around it,
Hmm.
um and uh and there's like cloth like that kind of forms like a mask that goes up like up to right around here to like keep basically hide my identity ish, but like be a little subtle about it.
Yeah.
um and they themselves are like Southeast Asian, and their hair, well, you can't really see it right now because they have the hood on, but would be like kind of neck shoulder length black hair,
Cool.
and blue eyes. Yeah, like that's their
Yeah.
what they look like.
How do they approach this shrine?
It's definitely like a slow walk,
Uh-huh.
like almost meditative.
Yeah.
um it's taking each step really gently, and they're looking down, but not to see where they're going, but almost like their mind is somewhere else, just thinking of things. And
Hmm.
then they're carrying their focus in their left hand, just kind of holding it instead of having it in their belt. They just grabbed it. It's still sheathed. It's not like drawn or anything, but they're just kind of holding it. Um, and you can see that there's probably some sort of like dim gleam to it. Um,
What
as they're
kind
like
of
walking up.
sword is it?
It's basically a short sword, so it's not very long. It's definitely something you can easily like hold in like one hand. Probably like it's longer than a dagger, so it'd probably be about. I know that this isn't really much context in a video
Well,
camera,
you
but
know.
um, it's like not too long. It's like very
Yeah.
much shorter than a long sword or anything like that. Easily one hand wielded,
Yeah.
hideable, I guess. Um, and where was I? Oh yeah, and so they're just kind of like walking up really calmly. Um, and then they're kind of like fiddling like around for something, which
Hmm.
like, and like as you're coming up, like they look really serene, and then you realize they're just kind of like absentmindedly like finding like things in their pack that like is completely incongruous with all of the other bodily posture they've been having so far, where they're just like absentmindedly just like look like they're trying to find something in any one of the packs that they have on them.
What does you doing this like consist of? Is it a one-way ritual? Do you know, like, do you get any sort of communication back?
Well, I definitely would like some communication back.
Okay.
Is it gonna happen? I don't know, not guaranteed, but signal's gonna be stronger than usual today, so it might as
Yeah.
well. And I guess the other thing is like, well, because I think we didn't address earlier, but like I guess the focus itself kind of has a little bit of sentience to it too,
Yeah.
right?
Ooh.
I can if you wanted to.
I mean, I'm not gonna say no. I'm gonna come up with a name later, but it definitely. I feel like it can talk. It just doesn't usually. It doesn't feel like it. So it just like communicates like with like feelings and emotions effectively.
Cool.
So it's definitely like, oh, I'm like calmly going up, and it's like anxious, almost like it's expecting
Mhm.
something. So I feel like I
Yeah.
should, but I'm just
Yeah.
trying to like stay even keel.
Cool. All right. So
And I'm like pulling out some like incense or something from my bag. Like it's basically once I find the thing, I'm like,
yeah,
oh, found it, and like pull it up.
cool. So we get a
And
quick. Okay.
oh yeah, and so I'm just like grabbing like all
Yeah.
the things and sort of like setting them up.
Yeah.
Just like in a random part of this nest that I won't light a
Mhm.
fire that catches the
Yeah.
rest of the nest.
So we get this shot of you starting like completing your setup at the beginning. And I think the final thing we get as you're going through your sort of practices, right, and trying to commune, you hear a voice back. I don't know. Do you when you normally commune, do you normally hear a voice, or is it normally something more abstract?
Uh it's like 50-50. Not
Cool.
so much because it isn't it's basically like depends on how strong the connection is at a given moment. Like so when it's clear, voice. When it's not, it's a little fragmented, abstract kind of
Cool.
thing.
So the voice you hear is not a voice you've ever heard here. I think it's a voice you've heard once before. Uh, it is a voice that has defined your life for some time now. And it simply says, "Hello, Tide Bearer. I found you." As you hear the voice of the sky break in your head, and we call it session.
Oh god, I was like, I see that face you're making on him. I saw that face. I
We-
was like, I know that face. That's the
Ah.
GM. I'm gonna end on a good moment.
Yeah, we gotta
face,
end on a hook for next session. But since we're
It's a
getting
good
a bit
hook.
over time, we started a bit late, so we're still within 2 hours. But let's do plugs real quick. Angela, go ahead.
Hello there, everybody. I'm Angela, who has been playing the Master Illusionist slash Reality Warper Yolanda Moraga, who's also trans. If all of the pickle juice and salty related commentary wasn't a big enough giveaway.
That's why do you think I specifically?
When you
Got
went
you.
there, I was like, I appreciate you
Yeah,
so
no, I got
much.
you.
I'm on. You can find me on Twitter at Phoenix24 Fem, or you can find me on Patreon at Philosophem, where I'm a professional writer and poet, where I now am at 142 poems that have been posted on there, half of which are available for public viewing. The other half are patron exclusive. I am currently working on my own game that has actually received some help thanks to Alex in our cast, who's got me going for some really fun ideas of a descended from the Queen inspired game built off of thematic parallels from Ryutama and the Search for Christopher Robin, the Winnie the Pooh story. So that's a thing. I'm also a musician for hire, and God, how many other things do I do? If you want to catch me over on another channel at All Nerds Here for a City of Mist game where I am playing someone who is a death doula and has the spirit of Shipetotek, a god of rebirth, as their mythos. You can catch me Sundays, 3 p.m. EST. Or if you want to see me GMing and facilitating more chaos in Quest, you can catch me over at Heroes Without Limits at 2 p.m. EST, where I'm guiding a group of very chaotic, very lovely people through stopping invaders from another world. Fun. But I think that's everything for me.
Cool. Morgan.
Right. I'm Morgan. You can find me on Twitter at magpie_mirror, and I also design games and publish them on itch, and you can find that under Nested Games. Let's see, I'm probably releasing something tomorrow, if only because the Unusual Suspects Blades in the Dark playbook jam is ending tomorrow, so therefore I have to submit it. So I'm going to be putting up, it'll probably be rough, not quite laid out draft, which will get replaced later, but it'll have all the mechanical bits and maybe almost the right language for it. So look forward to that, I guess. Oh, and the other big thing is Amr's also in this,
I
but
had the link waiting in chat.
heck
Sorry.
yeah. We're both writers for the Hero 2 Kickstarter, a solo RPG hacked from plot armor by Orion Black, which is about trans superheroes, and we just funded today.
Yeah, we just funded, but you should still back if you haven't, because the next stretch goals include some cooler layout stuff, and then eventually a soundtrack if we were able to get a couple more $100 before it ends. So
Yeah, and now it's funded. You
Yeah.
know you will get it, so
Yeah.
back it.
yeah,
There's only like what 4 days left, 3 days left.
yep, 4 days left. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's get it now.
Awesome. Alex.
Hi there. I'm Alex Guerrero. I design games at fractaldragon.itch.io, so you can check those out. And I'm on Twitter at @fractaldragon. I am, in addition to this show, I am on Wednesdays on not Utopia, on All Nerds Here. I am in Haven, A Land Reclaimed, which is another all BIMPOC game. I am so blessed. But that is a wonderful game playing Freed from the Yoke. I also have some blacksmith stuff going in there because I figured why not just go ham. I have a whole culture of crafters and makers called the Forgers of Unbroken Bonds, and they are going to be really fun to play in this game that is zooming out between large scale like cultural world building and then zooming into characters and seeing what they're doing. So that's every week. Is it every week? It's every week. Yeah, Roos in it from the chat. It's great. It's a really good time.
Oh, that's
Perfect.
amazing.
Perfect. All right. Now I have a question.
Yeah, it's every week. Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Do you have any more, Alex, before I move on?
That's it.
Cool.
Probably.
B, how fast can you speedrun your bugs?
So fast.
All
Watch
right.
this.
Let's hear it.
Hello, my name is B Zelda. You can find me on Twitter as @B_Zelda. My schedule for streaming this month is on Tuesday. I am on the @SaltySweet Twitch channel playing as 10,000 bugs in the shape of a wallaby at 9 o'clock. On Wednesdays, I am streaming Arium on twitch.tv/PG, where I am playing a young girl who talks to cursed knitting needles. On Thursday, I record the broadswords. On Fridays, you can catch me here every other Friday playing the arrogant and angsty Jupiter, demigod with cute ears. On Saturdays, you can catch me on 7 o'clock on twitch.tv/Mythic Grove playing werewolf. And on Sundays, you can catch me every Sunday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard on twitch.tv/QTimes playing a superhero who's made out of plastic.
That was pretty fast, actually. Well done.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. I guess that leaves me. Hey, everyone. I'm Chimera. I am your GM and facilitator for this wonderful cast. Right now, you can find me besides here in the next 2 weeks. Next Saturday, so not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow, our monthly Critical Reads Al-Qadim stream with an all Middle Eastern Destiny Muslim cast reading through the original Al-Qadim sourcebook and critically deconstructing it. It is a heavy time, but also a great resource for learning about cultural consulting, what that work looks like, as well as understanding how to better write stories in Muslim and Middle Eastern inspired culture, since we are all providing different perspectives. What you could include to make your setting actually good and not all good. Whoops, did I say that out loud? But other than that, next Sunday as well, you can find me at 7. That's at like noon on Saturday, plus or minus EST. I don't remember the exact time off my head. Sunday evening at 7 EST, not this one, but a week as well from now. You can find me over on Arthur Elron channel, being a part of the Sound Clash, the Clampdown crew, which is Brandon O'Brien's cyberpunk music-inspired punk game, which is a Forged in the Dark hack, which is super cool. I'm slowly and more progressing into playing the villain to the anime protagonist, or more like the antagonist to our other anime protagonist. Both kind of jerks to one another, but I'm more of a jerk. I play the character who thinks, oh hey, there's the evil Cthulhu portals that are showing up. We should research those. That's a good idea that can never go wrong. And also, I have a pet portal in my science lair. Don't worry about it. um, Other than that, you can please back the Hero 2 Kickstarter if you haven't. It's super cool. I have some other projects that will be coming up else next time. Trying to think if there's anything else that's worth mentioning. Obviously, Chimera is one of the games I'm co-designing and probably my biggest game design project right now. You should follow us on the Chimera RPG Twitter account if you're ready, where updates will be happening. And Ryan just announced a second Chimera stream, so if you enjoyed this, check out Lord Neptune's Twitter for the trailer of that. It's a super cool trailer, and the stream is going to be an awesome cast as well. And yeah, I think that's the big stuff for now. So yeah, thank you all for coming by. I have other stuff, but that's the important stuff for now. So that, thank you all for showing up. Oh yeah, it's next week Friday, right? So on Fridays where we're not on, they're on. So you can get Chimera every Friday if you so wish. Right, I remember Ryan specifically planned it so that they were on that weekend. So yeah, on the Fridays we're not on, you can catch them. Thank you all for coming out. Thank you all for sticking through. I'm excited to see where our wonderful adventurers get up to next time. I don't know if there's a mod or someone here who has a channel we can raid. I can't do that since I don't control the channel.
Oh no, me neither. Or do I? Hold on, let's find out.
You might be a mod. You might be able to, unless it
no,
needs to
I can't read.
Miriam.
Yep.
Let's add Miriam.
Yeah, Kupo's online.
I'll add Miriam to raid someone. In the meantime, y'all can get me blabbering on about more stuff. Let me just say that it's honestly been since I have them held hostage here. It's honestly been a delight to be with this cast. Not a single one of them has disappointed me, and if anything, they've all blown away my expectation. And I've told them so before, and I will say it now on air so that they can't hide from the truth. That they are all wonderful people and amazing role players and talented world builders. You can't run away, Alex. I know you're still there.
He's trying so hard.
Too bad I don't have a convenient mirror to show back at you.
You don't understand my potential when it comes to hiding from the truth. You don't get it.
I don't. You're right. I don't.
Trained for
You
this
create
my
a whole
entire
character,
life.
Create your own truths.
But yeah. All right.
Well, I also feel the same way about you, Amr. This game is great.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh
Well,
yeah. You're gonna know
like,
Yumi?
I mean,
Well,
if we're going to be real here. I mean, I love how you've like taken all of our like backstories and improvised and spun out all of these like fun extrapolations of our characters and things that we've come up with, and ended on a fun cliffhanger that's already hooking us into the plot.
Also,
Yeah,
we've
great.
met one NPC so far, and I'm already in love. So
I'm very proud of. I don't know the name, but our Kingfisher.
Yeah, I was very glad you actually didn't name them, so we get to deal with that for next time.
Yeah,
Whatever
yeah.
wonderful
yeah,
name
you got
come up
time.
with.
You got
I got
time.
You have
time.
time.
Definitely time I will use responsibly as a responsible human being. But no, definitely. Okay, other thing we can do quickly to save time for all of us. And well, I'm gonna message Mariam again.
Put on the thank you for watching for a couple minutes.
Yeah, we could do that.
We could do that. One last thing, if y'all are comfortable doing it on stream, we can do the stars and wishes now, since we are still trying to kill some time. Yeah. Does anyone want to go first?
I can go first.
Or actually, let me explain to the audience stars and wishes. Sorry to interrupt you, but stars and wishes are a tool we use as part of our ongoing campaign. It might auto-host, that's fair. Alright, we'll do Stars and Wishes and we'll bounce from as responded. But basically, Stars and Wishes are tools we use as part of our ongoing campaign in order to give a star to our players, things that we think they did well, to encourage stuff that we'd like to see and we want to see more of, or to a pat on the back, a gold star. And a wish is things that we want to see more of that didn't necessarily happen. Like, hey, I would love to see a scene between our characters, or oh, I would love if we had this sort of interaction or this sort of conflict or whatever. I did a terrific job explaining it, I'm sure. But Angela, you're the star.
You did. You're fine. You're perfect. Wonderful. Anyways, carrying on. I will say start. I love Jupiter so much. Like it there's so much personality with so little that you have to do, and yet it just every additional bit just it's not a like it's not a change by like just minor additive. It's like exponential growth of love for this character with each thing that is added on. Like it's I love him so much, and Wish is just I just want occasions for us to have either like deeply emotional or deeply ridiculous things to unfold. That is all I'm looking forward to really, and want more of in the future.
That'll never happen. Don't worry.
I'll just see myself out.
I have plans. Perfect. Anything else?
Yeah. I mean, can I go with my wish first?
Yeah.
I wish for a celebration. I'm trying to get a move working, and
Okay.
I will get that celebration.
Hell yeah, we will get the celebration. Don't you worry. I have some ideas for how things go before the drama unfolds.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Then a wish is just, or a star, excuse me, is just already the limited interactions that everybody's had for Jupiter. Wonderful, like Yolanda and Jupiter, they are going to be besties, whether or not Yolanda wants it.
As I stated in chat, she's literally, as Jupiter is like floundering about like a shiny rock, she's literally just reaching her hand into her bag and pulling out a small little bag full of like coin. She's like, I bring this everywhere I go with him.
Beautiful.
I love it.
Tamala or LD?
I would give a star to our world building for our like how the team came together villain battle was so cool. Just all the ideas gelling and building on each other, and like, does it have a Final Fantasy Latin chorus boss fight? Yeah, okay, yeah, no, we can make that work. Yeah, that was so sick.
Beautiful. And you have a wish?
Wish for a 3-hour time slot, but I can't have that wish.
Fair enough. We'll be back soon enough.
Yeah, we'll be back.
LD, do you have?
Let's see. I mean, the only thing I've got for wishes right now is wish for rolling, but we can't. Well, that'll come. That'll come when it
Don't
comes.
worry, you'll get plenty of rolls.
Yeah. Mostly because I'm excited to play this game, and so that's really what I'm like. I want to like try some things, especially because like I'm like really interested in like feeling out like all of the narrative attitudes, because that seems like that will be really interesting. So I want to dig into that at some point.
I think we've got some fun setups for moves next time for sure.
Yeah. What specifically do I want to give a wish for? Because there's so many things. You know what? Why not? Let's give a wish for the Kingfisher, because that was great. And I think for me the undershadowed out part of this so far is just the aesthetic of the tavern, because that is amazing. I loved it so much.
Angela asked me for anxiety inducing, but in a fun way. So,
This was perfect. That was not what I expected. I was like, anxiety inducing. There's just a lot of people in it, right? It's like, no, this went the exact direction I didn't expect.
Overstimulation in a different way.
Star to Alex for suggesting the Kingfisher is ripped. Star to Angela for pulling off the scene of the Kingfisher. That was a lot of fun to roleplay. Star to Jupiter for having great ears. And star to LD for that very fun, like, little quiet scene we had. It's cool to get a quiet scene early on to establish characters. And then, my wish kind of mirrors what we're saying. Kind of wish to like drive us right into the action next time and stay more on top of that. that, I think I'm gonna transition this over to Freeman. I think we're about to raid someone in a couple seconds. But yeah, thank you all so much for coming. Everyone wave goodbyes. I
Thank
transition this to the
you.
stream. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you for sticking through all of this. Bye bye.